Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This grant opportunity that you have before you tonight was forwarded to us on very short notice. We received, the police department actually received it last Tuesday, and it will be due on September 26th, so that's why you see us before you tonight without it previously coming through one of the committees. This is funding that had been previously awarded to the state of Idaho that was being administered through the Idaho Criminal Justice Grant Review Board. And because some of the entities that had previously been awarded funding evidently were not able to follow through with their projects and they had held money in an account, they had earned interest on it, they're now able to re-grant out some of that money. So it was originally from an ARA grant that they had received, an American Recovery Act grant in 2009. So now they're taking the opportunity to go ahead and grant the money out again, and that's the opportunity that we have before us tonight. What we're looking at under this program would be to purchase six additional mobile data terminals for the police department vehicles. We have two that we received in a prior grant, which was actually under the Justice Assistance Program, but it was a direct award through from the federal government. And the city's also receiving two other mobile data terminals through a state grant that they receive in exchange for their special operations that they do, where we have seatbelt emphasis or different emphasis patrols that they do. They receive equipment credits for those, and so we'll be able to get two more. So with this 6, it would give us 10, and Chief Duke feels that that would be a very good number for us to have and would be well suited for us at this point in time. We're looking at the units being $12,800 installed, and that's including staff time with the IS department, and then also the fleet department installs the units. We had a little bit of trial and error on that on the first 2 units, figuring out how to actually get them installed into the vehicles and the software that was needed to have continuous operation for them. So we've got all those bugs worked out, and this is a number now that we're comfortable with for the cost for from the time we order it to we have it installed and up and operating. So before you tonight, we have a request to go ahead and submit the grant for $76,800 to the Idaho State Police through the Criminal Justice Grant Review Board, and the application will be due on the 26th.
Thank you, Elisa. Does the council have any questions? Yes, Tom.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Did you say that it actually would cover some of our staff costs?
It does.
Department?
Yes, it will actually cover the cost of the installation in the fleet department, and I think we'll have in this time we've calculated some funding also for the programming for the Information Systems Department.
So kind of an added benefit.
Yes. And because this still is Recovery Act funding, there is no match required.
Great, thanks.
Other questions for Elisa? How would the council like to proceed?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would make a motion that we approve submittal of the grant request under the 2011 Recovery Act, Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant for $76,800.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have Dan's motion and Tom's second. Is there discussion? Walter?
Do you need authorization for mayor's signature with that motion?
Actually, it's an electronic grant that we would not have to sign until there would be an award.
So you don't? The motion is sufficient?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Other questions? Yes, Tim?
Thank you, Mayor Cheney. I'd like to remind the council that because of the suspense time presented to our grants coordinator, this did not come before either Public Works, Finance, or Admin. And although I'm going to support the spending of the request for the $76,800, I also noticed, and I think it's important to realize, that the funding could have provided local law enforcement the tools to help fight, for example, violence to women. Mm-hmm. It could have been used, or part of it could have been used, to fight internet crimes against kids. And so I will accept the fact that the Moscow Police Department needs this equipment, but I also think in this town, especially after what happened August 22nd in Moscow, that we certainly should have or could have directed some of the dollars in other areas. That being said, thank you.
And be assured that we'll certainly continue to pursue those opportunities. Elisa?
Yes, there are certain parameters, even though, it states these are the types of functions that the grant funding can go for. The parameters were pretty narrow on what we could apply for, and what it means is that this type of equipment can assist in preventing and working with those types of crimes. And I do know from previous discussions with the police department that having the data immediately accessible in their vehicles rather than having to wait to go back and get a report allows them, say if they have a traffic stop, they can tell if someone has certain warrants out. They can pull up a lot more data immediately, and they can also connect to a lot more information systems than they would be able to, that they would have to previously go back to the station. And so this allows them to provide, I think, immediate police protection on site and helps them in preventing these types of crimes that's discussed here.
Okay, Wayne?
Well, I agree with Tim. Tim, you're absolutely right. We need to find some money somewhere eventually to help fund these items that you're talking about. As Elisa indicated, this particular grant is pretty narrow in scope as to what it can be spent on. And these mobile terminals are something we've been working towards for, 3 years, I think, trying to get our cars outfitted with them. So I hope we can get this grant. I'll certainly support it.
Sue?
I was just wondering if any of this money covers training time on these on the software for these terminals, because driving a moving van, my sister was driving up from Oregon. We were pulled over by a state trooper who said, "Excuse me, ma'am, can I try this on my? If you just wait a little while, you don't have a problem, but." Can I go back and try this on my new computer, because I haven't had much practice and I need to take a while? and then someone zoomed past and the trooper said, "Oh, see you later," because he had to go. But evidently there's a lag time. He may be able to do a lot of things, but his software was beyond it.
And I'll have to say, I think, and Jesse might be able to add, I thought I saw him here a minute ago, I guess I don't now. Oh, okay. This actually provides the same sort of terminal connection that the police department would have at their offices, and so they're really already trained on a lot of the software. So it's being like at their desk, and so there's not a whole lot of training. It's the same programs that they would use. And I also, as you were speaking on your comment, had one more point to make regarding funding for the violence against women and internet crimes. With this short time turnaround, I just wanted to let Councilmember Brown also know that there would have been a lot of programming in place, and when I say it was a pretty close parameter on what we could do with that short time frame. In order to apply for funding for some of these other programs, we would have needed 3 to 6 months to put a program together to be specific enough. Had we had more head time, we would have been able to possibly work out a program, of which I'm sure you're thinking about. This was the best that we could do on the short time frame, though. But I agree that we, certainly do need to look for funding for those programs. And we have applied in the past jointly with Alternatives to Violence. We have not been awarded, but we work closely with them, and when there are opportunities that we can apply together for funding to assist them, we've worked with them, and I've worked very closely with Christine and kept in touch with her. So,
Thanks, Elisa.
thank you.
Other discussion or questions before voting? Okay. Anybody need the motion repeated? Okay. Tim, we'll start with you.
Aye.
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 Okay, the motion carries. Thank you, Elisa, for
Thank you.
your hard work under pressure as often. Appreciate that.